Right then, let's get stuck into why some meat is red and some is white. It's a good question. And the answer is actually pretty straightforward. All about what's happening inside the animal's muscles. You've seen it? A deep, rich red steak compared to a pale chicken breast. This isn't just by chance. There's a bit of simple science to it, nothing too complicated, I promise. Understanding this simple difference can make you a smarter cook and help you know what you're putting on your plate. So let's dive in and find out what gives red meat its signature color, shall we? It's fascinating stuff. The main hero behind this color mystery is a brilliant little protein called myoglobin. Try saying that one. Myoglobin. It sounds a bit technical, but it's super important for our meaty mates. This protein is found right there in the muscle cells of animals. Its big job is to store oxygen. Think of it like a tiny oxygen tank within each muscle, ready to go when the muscle needs to work hard and get moving. The more myoglobin a muscle has stashed away, the deeper and redder that meat will naturally look. It's packed with iron, which is key to its color and its oxygen-hugging job. So how does this myoglobin actually work its magic? Well, it cleverly grabs onto oxygen molecules. When an animal is active, say a cow ambling through a field or just standing about for long periods, its muscles need a constant, steady supply of oxygen to keep them fueled and working properly. Myoglobin acts as a fantastic reserve, releasing that stored oxygen when the blood supply alone can't quite keep up with the muscles' demands. Muscles that are used all the time for endurance, like the leg muscles of a cow, will naturally have loads more myoglobin. They need that oxygen on tap. This all links directly to how active an animal is, or more specifically, how much endurance its different muscles need. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. Animals like cows and sheep, they spend a lot of their day standing, walking and grazing. Their muscles are consistently working, so they build up higher levels of myoglobin, which makes their meat distinctly red. Chickens and turkeys, on the other hand, might have short bursts of activity using their wings, but their breast muscles aren't designed for sustained long-distance flight like wild birds. So, their breast meat is much whiter, containing less of that oxygen-storing myoglobin. Right, let's break down some examples so we're all on the same page. When we chat about red meat, we're usually picturing lovely beef. Think of a beautiful, juicy steak sizzling away, or a slow-cooked brisket that just falls apart. Lamb is another fantastic red meat, absolutely brilliant for a Sunday roast with all the trimmings. And pork, well, pork is often classed as red meat too, especially your denser cuts like pork shoulder or a good loin chop. Some folks get a bit muddled with pork, but scientifically speaking, it has enough myoglobin to join the red meat gang. These meats get their rich color because their muscles were built for the long haul. Now let's flip over to the white meats. Chicken breast is probably the first thing that pops into your head, isn't it? Nice and pale, a really versatile ingredient. Turkey breast is very similar, often a go-to for a lighter meal or those big festive feasts. Most types of fish also generally fall into the white meat category, although you do get some fish like tuna or salmon that can have a lovely pink or even reddish color. This is often due to their own specific pigments and myoglobin levels, which vary depending on how much they swim and how active they are. But compared to beef or lamb, poultry and most fish are definitely on the whiter side. So the really big difference in color, as we've chatted about, comes down to that clever protein, myoglobin. Red meats are absolutely packed with it, which gives them their characteristic robust color. White meats, on the other hand, have much, much less. It's not a strict black and white or red and white situation. It's more of a sliding scale. For instance, some cuts of pork might appear a lighter red compared to a really deep dark red beef steak. And even within the same animal, like a chicken, the leg meat, the dark meat, has more myoglobin than the breast meat. This is because legs are used more consistently for walking and standing around. Now, tucked away inside that myoglobin is something incredibly important for us heme iron. This isn't just any old iron you find in rusty gates. It's a special, top-notch type of iron that our bodies find really easy to absorb and use. That's a massive plus point. Iron is absolutely crucial for carrying oxygen around in our blood, which keeps our energy levels up, our brains ticking over, and basically ensures everything in our body is working as it should. Heme iron, because it comes from this myoglobin in animal tissues, is much more bioavailable. This means our bodies can grab it and use it far more efficiently than the non-heme iron found in plants. Let's chat a bit more about this heme iron because it's quite a star. It's a bit like a superhero when it comes to battling tiredness and keeping us feeling full of energy and beans. Because it's so easily absorbed by our bodies, it's absolutely brilliant for helping to prevent iron deficiency anemia. This is a really common problem that can affect lots of people, and it can leave you feeling properly rough-tired all the time, weak, and finding it hard to concentrate on things. So including a bit of red meat in a balanced diet can be a truly effective way to top up your iron levels with this high-quality heme iron. However, like with many good things in life, having too much heme iron might not always be the best thing for us. Some scientific research suggests that consistently high intakes of heme iron, the type we primarily get from red meat, could potentially be linked to a few health concerns down the line. Our bodies are usually very clever at regulating iron levels, but if we constantly overload the system, it might lead to something called oxidative stress, which isn't ideal for our cells in the long run. There's ongoing discussion and research about its role in certain conditions if you eat massive amounts all the time. So it's all about finding that happy, sensible balance. Now, here's something else important to keep in your noggin when you're cooking up your red meat, especially if you're a fan of getting it well done or with a bit of a crispy, charred crust. When meat, and particularly red meat, is cooked at really high temperatures, think of it sizzling away on a scorching barbecue or directly under a super hot grill. Some not so lovely chemical compounds can start to form. We're talking about things with rather complicated names like heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. These sound a bit alarming, and scientists are looking closely at them because they could potentially be harmful if we consume too much of them too often. So, how do these HCAs and PAHs actually appear on our food? Well, HCAs tend to form when the amino acids, which are the basic building blocks of protein, and a substance in muscle called creatine, react together under intense heat. The darker and more blackened the char on your meat, the more HCAs you're likely to find. PAHs, on the other hand, are typically formed when fat from the meat drips down onto a hot surface or an open flame, creating smoke. This smoke, carrying the PAHs, then rises and can settle and stick to the surface of your lovely piece of meat. That smoky flavor we often crave from barbecued food can bring these PAHs with it. Right, so how can we all enjoy our lovely tasty red meat without getting too worried about these things? First things first, let's talk about portion control. It's not about completely banning red meat from your life, not at all. It's simply about being a bit sensible with how much you eat at one time. Think about having a portion of red meat that's roughly the size of a deck of playing cards, or about the palm of your hand. You really don't need a massive plate-filling steak to get all that wonderful flavor and the nutritional goodness. Enjoying red meat a few times a week, rather than making it an everyday thing, is also a really smart approach. Another top tip for you is to try and choose leaner cuts of red meat whenever you can. Less overall fat means fewer calories, which is good, and it can also mean less fat dripping down if you're grilling or barbecuing. This, in turn, helps to reduce the formation of those PAHs we were just talking about. Look out for cuts that have loin or round in their name, like a nice sirloin steak or some top round. And don't forget to trim off any big bits of visible white fat before you start cooking. This doesn't mean you can never enjoy a richer, fattier cut, but making leaner choices more often is a great habit. How you actually cook your red meat makes a massive difference too. Try your best to avoid charring or blackening it too much. If you're having a barbecue, a brilliant idea is to cook the meat a little further away from the direct, intense heat source, or simply use a lower, more gentle heat for a bit longer. Marinating your meat before you cook it can also be a great shout. Some studies have shown that certain marinades can actually help reduce HCA formation. Flipping your meat frequently when grilling or pan frying can also help prevent one side from getting too scorched and burnt. Finally, and this is super important, always try to balance your plate when you're having red meat. This means piling it high with loads of colorful fruits and vegetables. Think big, fresh salads, lovely roasted root veg, steamed greens, the works. These fantastic plant-based foods are absolutely packed with vitamins, minerals, and brilliant things called antioxidants. These are great for your overall health and can help your body deal with some of the potential downsides we've discussed. A balanced plate is a happy plate and a healthy body, so enjoy that delicious red meat, but make sure it's just one part of a varied, vibrant and pucker diet.